Hello and good evening. My name is Chuck Williams, and I am going to be your host of tonight's ISAGENIX Zoom presentation. We have this every Monday night for the Cepeda team, and we have different special guests, and tonight is no different. We have a very incredible special guest with us tonight. You'll be hearing from her and her story in just a minute. It's a story you're not going to hear too often, very unique, very exciting, and so stay tuned. So first screen here is the disclaimer. And I just want to mention that we do everything with integrity here on the Cepeda team and the ISAGENIX company. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a picture of Kathy Coover, one of the founders of the company. And she's got a couple of quotes that I absolutely love. One is that if it's not right for the customer, it's not right for ISAGENIX. I love a company that's focused on customer satisfaction. Second quote that she's famous for is she wants to do it right when it comes to network marketing. She wants to create a company that produces more 6- and 7-figure income earners than any network marketing company in the history of the world. And she's well on her way to doing that, having now surpassed over 300 people in her company that have earned $1 million or more cumulatively with ISAGENIX. That, ladies and gentlemen, is phenomenal. But the screen we're looking at right now is the disclaimer. We're going to talk about some great transformations physically. Tonight's call, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the financial side. We have other calls that focus more on the financial. We will cover a little bit about the financial. So there's disclaimers for both financial and physical here. Bottom line, it's not some get-rich-quick program by any means. It's a business opportunity. It's a financial opportunity. It's also not some cure-all, be-all. We don't claim to heal, treat, cure diseases or anything like that. We will tell you, though, this is the highest quality nutrition we are aware of, and you put this nutrition in your body, and the body becomes a miracle and does some incredible things. You're going to see a little bit of that. This is a few pictures of yours truly. We won't spend a whole lot of time here, but I am definitely a product of the product. These products have transformed my life. Here today at 58 years old, I've gone from losing the belly fat and not having the belly of a 57-year-old grandpa at the time. Now I can chase my grandkids around, have fun, and I can keep up with them. And I absolutely love the lifestyle that ISAGENIX has given my wife and I at 58 years old. We call it youthful aging with ISAGENIX. And now what I want to do is I want to introduce Cyndy Bartlett. And Cyndy and her husband, Sam, are incredible transformation stories in and of their own right. I asked Cyndy if she would quickly share her story and then introduce our special guest who I'll be interviewing tonight. So Cyndy, take it away.
Thank you, Chuck. Yeah, I was introduced to ISAGENIX about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And I was at a very difficult place in my life. I was fighting a debilitating autoimmune disease where I was fatigued. I suffered debilitating fatigue, a lot of anxiety, some depression, and my health was at its all-time worst. Every relationship in my life was suffering. The relationship with my kids, my husband, my family, my friends. I had no quality of life and needed to make a change, and was very reluctant to ISAGENIX because I had tried every diet, every supplement out there, and was adamant I was not going to get back on the diet wagon again. I ended up being blessed with a wellness pack and started using the products and quickly noticed a difference in my energy and really how I felt. The weight loss was just a bonus. And the best thing that happened to me was that my husband noticed that I was not coming straight home from work and having to go to bed. I was engaging in conversation and being more involved in my family. I have 2 teenagers at the time, and it was a very critical point in life where I needed to be involved in what was going on with them. And after a few months, my husband decided that he was going to give the products a try after being a huge skeptic. He was an avid believer that it was calories in, calories out. It was willpower, nothing else but that. And after he started using the products, he started noticing the difference, not only in the weight coming off, but how he felt. He had just transitioned from a corporate position to a physically demanding position. And after becoming more physical with the job, he noticed that he needed to lose the weight just to be able to be much more productive and efficient with his job, and also healthier. So long story short, our family of four has lost over 240 pounds in the past year. My husband just recently reached his 100-pound goal. I am working towards mine. Mine's a little bit slower, but it's at my rate. This is my story, my journey, not his. So when we were introduced to ISAGENIX and started learning about the products and some of the performance products that are out there for the like workout, the AMP product line. My husband has a mutual friend of Helen's that we were introduced to Helen because she was a professional MMA fighter, and she was looking for or in need of a supplement sponsor. And learning what we had learned about ISAGENIX and how it was clean, it was Informed Sports certified. We knew that if we provided her with these supplements, we would not be hindering her if she were to be tested in any way, or hindering her career in any way, her integrity. So we agreed to provide pre and post workout. The more I learned about Helen, I was very ignorant whenever it came to the sport. I did not watch fighting. I didn't watch boxing. I knew nothing about it. And I started learning more about Helen and her background, her story, and quickly learned that just providing pre and post workout was we were not doing what ISAGENIX stands for by just limiting those products to her. So we asked her for, what is a day in the life of Helen, because we wanted to give her the best experience and give her the best nutrition that we could possibly give her. And she sent me a schedule. I was shocked when she, said that her day started at, some days it started at, 4 a.m. or earlier than that, to drive to, 3 hours to a gym and start working out. And sometimes she didn't get home that same day until 9 o'clock at night. So my husband and I put together a pack for her, and then she would give us, feedback on those products. And we decided that this is more than just a sponsorship. This is a family. This is a partnership that is much greater than ourselves and just ISAGENIX. And the knowledge that Helen has of the products based on her research prior to even becoming involved in ISAGENIX has taught us a lot. And we are excited to be on this journey with her, and the progress that she's made, and the what she's taught us, and just what she stands for. She can be in a very, very difficult situation, and she always looks at the bright side, and that's what she projects to society. And I'm excited to introduce Helen and have her share her story and her experience, because we are honored and humbled to be in her corner.
Cyndy, thank you so much. And what a great introduction. And I'll tell you, this is one of the greatest things about this type of business, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're a guest watching this presentation, it's by invitation. Somebody invites you to be a customer, basically. And then it becomes so much more than that. So Helen, I think you'll appreciate that introduction by your new friends, Sam and Cyndy, and what a difference they've made in your life. But let's hear your story. I know Diane and I have had the privilege of getting to know you a little bit over the last 6 months or so. Let's just hear from you, Helen. Tell us your story.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. You sound great.
Awesome. Well, I was a professional chef, and I'm a professional chef, but I was teaching culinary arts at a community college, and everything was going okay financially with my life, and I was going places. I was about to go to Spain to open a tapas restaurant, and there were investors. I didn't have to put a dime in. Everything was set up, but there was something missing. I found myself drinking a lot of alcohol, smoking cigarettes, like a whole pack a day. I wouldn't even pour the alcohol in a glass. I was just drinking straight from the bottle. I was living alone, and I've just moved by myself. And for a whole year, I was supposed to have this housewarming party that never happened. So one day, one of my friends showed up to my house without calling, and I'll tell you something, if you show up, I can be looking at you and I won't open the door. So she started knocking and knocking, and after a while, she said, I have tamales. I'm like, I gotta open the door for tamales, right? So I opened the door and let her in, and then she told me, we should have a housewarming party, and I was like, all right, fine. When we had that party, one of my friends kept talking about a fight. He said, do you see Ronda Rousey getting knocked out by Holly Holm? Ronda Rousey was a UFC champion who was dominant, and she had just gotten knocked out, but I had no idea who she was. So when my friends started insisting that I should know who she was, I said, all right, just show me a video of this thing that you think I should know about. So as I'm watching the fight, I start getting excited and I start having opinions. I'm like, oh, she should be doing this. She should try to do that. And then one of my friends said, well, that's easy to say when you're sitting on the outside. And I remember saying, well, you know what? If I wanted to beat like them, I could do it. I could start training and beat both of them. We were really, really drunk at this point. And they kind of laughed, but you can see that they were like, yeah, whatever. You know, the next day I wake up with a headache. I must have drank more than everyone else. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a beer to fix my headache. That's what like chefs, they do drink a lot. A lot of chefs do because they're so busy. They don't really have a life, really. And some of them are really depressed, and I was one of them. So I'm going to the kitchen to get a beer, and I remember that how much they doubted my ability of being able to doing this. And it makes sense. I mean, I was 27 years old, never trained for martial art. I mean, I did train when I was 12 years old for like a month until I got kicked out of the gym, so that doesn't really count. So I'm like, all right, and so I called this guy who was a mixed martial artist who I knew in town. I messaged him on Facebook, and I told him, I want to be champion. What do I do? And he was very annoyed. He was like, just show up. So I said, all right. So I started showing up, and I kept showing up. And then his manager, who's also his uncle, said if I wanted to fight. I'd been training for about 6 weeks to 10 weeks. And I said, yeah, sure, whatever. So I had that one fight, and I won, and I just keep fighting and winning. And then all of a sudden, I mean, most of my opponents, they have really beautiful technique. I don't have that, but I have the willingness to go the extra step. I don't give up. That's my thing. I never give up. I keep going until I can't go anymore. So I just kept winning. And then with less than 2 years of training, I landed a 4-fight deal with the biggest all-female promotion in the world. That's Invicta Fighting Championship. So I became one of their fighters. Now I'm fighting girls that have been training their whole life. And I've had 2 years of training, less than 2 years of training under my belt. I'm like, all right. So I just kept going, and I started training so hard. It came to a point that my body couldn't take it anymore. And right around the time I met Stan and Cyndy, I was going through a depression because I injured my left knee. I tore my MCL, completely gone, LCL partially torn, LCL also partially torn. And so I didn't know what to do. I didn't have insurance. I was very depressed, and I was supposed to fight 5 weeks after I got that injury. So I decided, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't have the money to fix this. So I decided to go ahead and fight so that I can use their insurance to fix my knee. So of course, I'm fighting a professional wrestler. I couldn't bend my knee. She wins the fight. Now that was the lowest I ever been around the time I met them. And, you know, I was looking for sponsorship for supplements, but nothing was really lining up. And I guess it's just the way I was feeling. But I do trust TJ Mockler, who was the one who introduced me to Sam and Cyndy. And he said, come on, you know, you're really going to like them. They're awesome people. I'm like, all right, I looked up ISAGENIX. And the fact that it was Informed Sports Certified really aligns with what I'm doing. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. So they started providing me with pre and post-workout supplements. They were working well. As the relationship got better, then they asked me, you know, what's the day of my life? I told them. And then they started providing me with other things, especially the joint support. That really helped me because that was around the time I was recovering from the knee injury, and I can see different. It's a very, very slow process, but I can start to feel like something was happening in there. I was able to go longer with the physical therapy, with less and less pain eventually. So I started using those products to begin with, and they work out well. And I kept training. Most of my fight fell through. Some of the girls didn't want to fight me, so I didn't have enough record to fight in the bigger league, just the UFC, because I only had 3 fights as professional. But then at that level, none of the girls wanted to fight me. So now I don't have a job. So the time goes by, and all of a sudden there's this bare knuckle champion that nobody wants to fight. And I'm not a bare knuckle boxer. I'm a professional mixed martial artist, but I decided I would give it a try. So when they told me about the fight, we used to be friendly. She calls me out. Now I have 10 weeks to prepare to fight the champion. not any of the girls she already beat. She hasn't come out of the second round. She beat the girl before the end of the second round. So it was a little challenging, and I knew it was going to be a hard fight. Another factor in it was that I usually fight at 115 pounds. This fight was at 125 pounds. So I'm like, right, she's bigger than me, so weight class bigger. So I had to start changing the way I eat as far as the amount. And that's where ISAGENIX was great, because what I started doing was I have to be fast. So I can't put on lazy weight. Lazy weight is a lot of carbs, a lot of sugar. You put on weight fast, but it's not real weight. When you're a fighter, it really slows you down. You want real lean muscles. You want to be able to move fast, especially if you were fighting the girl I was fighting. So I'm like, all right. So I started doing intermittent fasting, and I combined it with ISAGENIX. So I will fast for 16 hours. Around noon, I will go to the gym and train from noon to 2 p.m. By the time I was done training, I will have a concoction of Ionic Supreme, Hydrate, and Amp Recovery. And I would drink that right there as I was done with my workout, and then have an isolene bar, because now I'm trying to put on weight. I'm trying to cut off the fat, but put on weight at the same time, lean muscle. So I will have my isolene bar on my way home. By the time I got home, then I will have a shake. By the time after I had the shake within an hour, then I will have a real meal. One of the biggest mistakes I think people make when they're trying to accomplish anything physically, as far as gaining weight or losing weight or anything like that, is that they become too religious. And, it comes to a point they become too strict, and it's really hard to follow. So I always get myself a window where I will have a real meal after my shake, about an hour after, a real meal there. And then right before going to bed, about 2 hours before going to bed, I will have another shake. And of course, it's a slow process, but I was able to gain 5 pounds of lean muscle within those 10 weeks. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot. Just lean muscle, 5 pounds. That's a good number. And it was a lot of work to get to that point. Then as I kept getting closer to the fight, you do have to cut weight. I didn't have to cut much weight, only 5 pounds, but I did wanted to stay hydrated and ready for the fight. And then my next favorite product, which is the Amp Nox, that's what I did use during the fight. So 2 hours before the fight, I drank it just to kind of increase the amount of oxygen because I really didn't know what it was going to be like. I didn't really go in there to win. I went there to fight. I remember telling, of course, that I didn't want to psych out Sam and Cyndy and the people that follow me, but I really, in my heart, I mean, if you see that girl, she's like a machine. and she's really strong. She's a really great fighter. One of her coaches, he's got his own striking system. So someone like he's got his own martial arts. And he's one of the training at the Mayweather gym. So they are really, really good at boxing. This is my first professional boxing altogether, glove or no gloves. And now it happens that we're now wearing gloves. So I get into the ring. This is part of my ISAGENIX journey, of being positive. I'm healthy, I'm happy. I get in, I'm like, all right, Helen, take it in, enjoy the moment, don't try to control the outcome. Just let things flow. Like, you already trained, you did everything that you needed to do to be here. You train hard, you were disciplined. As I'm having those thoughts, I get hit by what seemed to be a brick right on my left eye. And then after that, everything was shaky. Everything got blurry. And it was the girl. The fight had started, and I was in La La Land. And she had already closed the distance. She had already hit me so hard. I had never been hit that hard. You can see in that picture, that eye, after that, it started closing really, really quickly. And it was one eye Willie after it. First, I was seeing triple out of that eye. And luckily, it got shot because it was a distraction. It was giving me information, but it was false information. After that, in the second round, I remember she hit me, and I hit the mat. She drops me. I'm like, it's a knockdown. And I remember thinking, I'm like, I cannot be the fastest knockout she ever gets. I got right back up, and I went after her. I'm like, I have to win, not so much for myself, but for all the people that believe that I can do it. Because that's the only reason why I do it. When I first started training, I did say that I wanted to be champion like the girls I was watching in that video. But now I know what I really want to do, and I want to be a motivational speaker. I want people to know that they can be whoever they want, no matter where they come from, as far as they apply themselves. As long as they apply themselves and really follow through with what they say they want to be, you can be that. No matter how late you start, no matter how slow you go, you will get there if you dedicate yourself 100%. So I never thought that I was going to be bare knuckle champion. It never occurred to me. 10 weeks, and then I just started concentrating on that to go there and participate. Now the oldest title in America, or across all contact sport, this is the title that John L. Sullivan gained in 1881. And then the sport became illegal. They were the one who introduced glove boxing into the sport. And now that title is sitting here in Fairfield, Iowa. And it is not something that defined me, it just defined my journey, the people that I met. And really, besides the ISAGENIX products, Sam and Cyndy has been like family to me. They really supported me. That beautiful skirt I'm wearing there, they got it for me. I remember thinking like, oh, I don't really have an outfit. I'm just gonna go out there and do this thing. And they were like, no, you need to look good. And then they went online, they sent me a web page for me to go on there and design my own little skirt that I was gonna wear in that fight. I mean, it makes sense. If you're gonna kick ass, you better look good.
Well,
that's pretty much
Helen,
my ISAGENIX
that is
story.
an amazing story. You're one of the best interviews I've ever had because I don't have to ask any questions. Just tell your story and you told it beautifully. I can definitely see you on stages being a motivational speaker. But let's talk about the product for just another minute. Now, again, we cannot make any claims or anything like that, but you were using the ISAGENIX recovery products, and you felt by using these products, it actually sped up your recovery. Can you kind of just walk us through these pictures of your recovery after this incredible fight?
Oh, the tap went on the left. That was 3 days after the fight. The first day after the fight, I had to travel from, we had to have a connected flight. And then once I get to the airport, I have to do that 2 hours. I was too tired to take a picture. So I started with 3 days. And yes, I was using the product and of course ice, and I was resting at home. But my favorite products to combine were the AMP Recovery and ISAGENIX Supreme. I felt, of course, if you want something for stress, that was definitely a stressful situation in my life. So I was doing 2 ISAGENIX Supreme portions a day, and the same thing with recovery. And of course, hydration all through the day. And I was just home for the first week. That was the first picture on the left, top left. The one next to it, top right, that was 6 days after the fight. The swelling has already gone down. I mean, it still looked like I got into a fight, but you can definitely see the process. At this point, I can actually open my eye because most of the inflammation around it has gone down. The bottom left, that was 10 days after the fight. So all the inflammation is gone at this point. I also got stitches. If you look at the bottom left picture, it's very, very small. You can barely see them, but it healed really, really nicely. I wasn't expecting that. That was 10 days after the fight. And then the picture where I'm holding the belt and I'm wearing the hat, bottom right, that was 2 weeks after the fight.
So what you're telling people on this tonight is that you basically went from being a chef to being a world champion bare knuckles fighter. What a story. And the fact that you used the ISAGENIX products throughout the process once you met Sam and Cyndy and they became your supplement supporter. Tell us real quickly as we close up our call here, your story is very unique. Not many people are going to take the journey from being a chef to a world champion boxer, but some of the things you talked about, the never quitting, the desire to prove people, the people that were supporting you, to not let them down, to get up off the mat after being knocked down so violently. So many great nuggets we can take away. Where do you see your future and combining that with ISAGENIX? What does Helen see in her future?
Oh, my nearest future within the next year, I see myself working at Integrity Fitness in St. Louis. We're partnered with Sam and Cyndy and ISAGENIX products. I'm going to be teaching boot camps 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm going to be teaching cardio kickboxing classes, fitness classes. And of course, because I am a chef, I will never tell someone to buy something I didn't believe in, which was the reason why I didn't have any sponsor or supplement for most of my career. Because if I didn't believe in it, if I didn't like the taste, if it was too sugary, I'd rather just pay for it myself until I find what I wanted. So I wouldn't tell somebody to buy something I didn't believe in. So now that I do know the products, I've used them on myself, I know what they do, now I can be part of the business side of ISAGENIX because I can actually recommend it to the people that I am training. I can recommend to them what I know can be good for them depending on who they are and their physical needs and nutritional needs in general. Then after that, I do see myself going to continue to fight for the next 5 years. After that, I'm going to start on my journey as a motivational speaker, probably start slowly until I get to learn the ropes. As I'm at the same time working for Integrity Fitness, fighting every now and then. The more popular you get, the less you fight at year. So it's going to come to a point where I'm only fighting once or twice a year. And then I have the rest of the time to concentrate on the business side of ISAGENIX, my motivational speaking, and training, because I love the sport. I can never really detach myself from it. I'm going to move into management, sport management, and also as a coach.
Well, I know we're very excited and proud to have you on the ISAGENIX team, and I think everybody will agree. If someone wanted to learn more about you, where would you suggest they go? Do you have a Facebook page or somewhere that they could go to connect with you?
Well, luckily I have a name that's a little unusual, Helen, Helen. It's not unusual, but most Helens are older. So if you look Helen Peralta, the first 3 pages on Google is mine. The first 3 pages, one page on Google is going to be stuff about me, articles, my social media, all of it.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for sharing your incredible story. And one thing, if you're a guest on our call tonight, this was a very unusual call tonight, but I wanted everybody to hear her story. I think it's so unique and inspiring that I wanted to share it with you. And there's something special going on with ISAGENIX. About 3 weeks ago, Joe Ames won the World CrossFit Games as his age bracket, #1 in the world. Helen here just became a world champion. There are champions joining this team and using this product. Even tonight, I see Versal Shaw in here, former professional basketball player, own his own nutritional company. You are in the right place. So what I want you to do is get back with the person who invited you and find out how to become a customer. That's how we all start as a customer. And then if you're interested, ask them how you can get your products paid for. And they'll be able to show you a very simple you share, they share formula to where literally you get your products paid for your first 3 months just by sharing the product with a couple people, teaching them how to do the same thing. And then if you're really serious about taking this to the next level, get with somebody who's making money in this business and have them show you how you can create 2 teams internationally to where you can create a residual income that literally can replace your existing income if you want. You can stop any point you want. You can just get your products paid for. But if you want to build a big business, there are people on this team that have been very, very successful that can help you do the same. So with that, Helen, I want to thank you and Cyndy for joining us tonight. All of our guests online, please get back to the person who invited you. Get yourself set up as a customer. And then once you're a customer, let the person know what you want to achieve, and they will help you achieve your goals. So Helen, Cyndy, and all of you in attendance, thank you very much. I'll get this recording up, and you can use it soon. God bless you all. Thanks you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Great job, Helen.
Thanks.